In today's episode of Pokemon, I learned something about the Pokemon world that I didn't know before, which is that apparently a giant Pokemon, when it evolves, will not necessarily evolve into another giant Pokemon. And if you don't believe me, follow along. In today's episode, we see our hero serenely sailing through the Orange Islands, as the narrator puts it. And why? Why is Ash always cleaning that bloody ball? Man, is anyone else sick of seeing the GS ball at this point? Just put it away, lad. The gang sees something thundering towards them that Misty says looks like a motorboat, but turns out to be Nurse Joy in a kayak. Why doesn't Nurse Joy just use a motorboat? Surely that'd be quicker and could carry more medical supplies. And it'd stop her getting tired. Direct quote from Misty.
I don't think a Nurse Joy would be strong enough to row that fast.
Wow, Misty. Way to drag down your fellow woman. Who says women can't be strong? Get your head out your arse, mate. Very minor, very picky point here. But man, I hate that the accent for the E in Pokemon appears before the word Pokemon begins appearing. It's just dumb, and I hate it. And I almost didn't include it, but I just kept going back to it because it annoyed me so much. So it's in now. You're welcome. I like how when we watch shows like this, we never question just how creepy this is. A bunch of strangers, unbeknownst to Joy, have decided they want to know what she's doing as she goes about her day. So we're now literally tracking her footprints and therefore her movements and trying to catch up with her. As a paranoid person, I hate this. Put yourself in Joy's shoes. Imagine you're just going about your day and then you suddenly realize that someone has been following you for ages because they just fancied being nosy. I hate it, I hate it, I hate it. Do not do this. If you do this to me, I will drop you where you stand. When Misty questions if the person they're looking for is actually a Nurse Joy, Tracey comments that she did look more muscular than the other Nurse Joys. He says her arms look to be 2 centimeters larger in circumference and her shoulders a centimeter wider than the average Nurse Joy. Jesus Christ, is this what we're doing, guys? Nurses can be any size and shape they want as long as they're happy and competent at what they do. I'm just saying, Tracey, you are outing yourself as a massive nice guy here. Our heroes are almost crushed when a giant Magikarp springs out of the water. I mean, at least dinner's sorted for the next 3 weeks, right? Direct quote from Ash.
Well, no matter how big it is, all a Magikarp can do is splash, so we're safe.
Not true. Magikarp can learn tackle too. And I reckon a tackle from this massive thing would feel like being hit by a truck. Misty says the giant Magikarp's gonna run out of air if it doesn't get back in the water. Technically, it's surrounded by air. It's definitely not gonna run out of air. But that's fine, because fish don't breathe air, do they? But wait, does this mean the writers are saying that fish Pokemon like Magikarp behave like IRL fish and can't survive out of water? Because if that's the case, then why does Misty, our resident water-type Pokemon expert, always send out Goldeen on land? She's done it a bunch of times, most notably in episode 2. She just sends it out in a Pokemon Center with no water or water features around. So are the writers saying that Misty did that knowing that Goldeen can't survive out of water? Misty is evil. Pass it on. As Ash and friends panic about not being able to get close enough to the Magikarp whilst it's flapping around and therefore can't put it back in the water, Nurse Joy turns up and says that Magikarp's upset because it's running low on calcium. So you're saying it's upset because its special stat isn't as high as it would like it to be? Yeah, I'm sure that's a massive concern for a Pokemon that can't actually learn any special moves. I love that Joy's recommended dose of calcium for this giant Magikarp is just literally a whole bottle. Like, don't check its weight or anything like that, just dump the whole bottle in. That'll do the trick. It's science. Speaking of science, the YouTube algorithm demands that you hit the like button on this video, you share it on social media, and you leave a comment down below if you'd like this series to continue. If you can't think of a comment to leave, just leave something generic, like,
"Oh, Mummy, Nurse Joy, crush my head with your thighs like a watermelon. Ooh, woo."
Or just comment the name of the secret Pokemon I've hidden somewhere in the video. And if you're new here, thank you for giving my channel a chance. I very much appreciate it. Hit the subscribe button and turn on all notifications so you never miss an episode of Pokemon WTF Moments. A whole bunch of you that watch this series are not yet subscribed, so bang that subscribe button. Bang it. If I karate chop hard enough, I might break my hand. So I'm gonna stop. Ow. Nurse Joy full-on gorilla presses the giant Magikarp. Mate, Ash and friends want to be careful about talking all that smack about Nurse Joy's muscly arms. I reckon if she overhears any of them, she could easily snap them like a twig. When Misty says Nurse Joy must have a Pokemon Center somewhere on the island, Tracey butts in, because of course he does, because how could a woman possibly be right in a world where Tracey exists? I really don't like Tracey. Tracey's so rude to women. It's unreal. We thought Brock was bad. Christ. next. But yeah, Tracey butts in and asks Joy if she travels from island to island treating Pokemon. I mean, he is right, but it's not like that wasn't obvious. We literally just saw her traveling to this island to treat Magikarp, so she must have come from somewhere. Tracey then continues his trend of sketching the random women he meets so that he has an excuse to stare at them and look them up and down. He doesn't even ask, do you mind if I sketch you? He just bluntly says, I want to make a quick sketch. And look at Joy's face, she is not comfortable at all. Tracey is a massive creep with boundary issues. Pass it on. Tracey wants to call this picture Nurse Joy, the Pokemon's Florence Nightingale. Hey look, someone who once lived in Derbyshire, my county, got name dropped in a Pokemon episode. Me next, please. Tracey introduces himself and says that he's a Pokemon watcher. Misty then introduces herself and says she wants to learn everything there is to know about water Pokemon. And then finally Ash introduces himself and says that he's training to become a Pokemon master. And I guess I missed the part where anybody asked. Nurse Joy says she has a clinic on this very island, which means that Misty was absolutely right about there being a Pokemon Center on the island. It's a small one, but it still exists. Yeah, so fuck you, Tracey. The gang decide they want to help Nurse Joy out for the day, so Joy speeds off in her kayak to the next island, leaving the gang desperately trying to catch up with her. That sounds like a hint. It's almost like she doesn't want them getting in the way, but is far too polite to say so. We get a quick montage of Joy and the gang tending to sick Pokemon, but this image raises a lot of questions. What are they even doing that would require them to all be clinging to the top end of Onix like this? It hardly seems like a professional job. Joy is clearly holding a syringe, but Onix is made of rock, so how the hell are you going to give an injection to a Pokemon that's completely made up of rock? Probably need a drill or something, wouldn't you? And down on the right hand side, there's a syringe just flying in the air, heading for Chansey's head. This whole scene is a disaster. It's a good thing people don't pay for this service. Later, the gang catch up to Nurse Joy's kayak, but find it empty, and Tracey instantly jumps to the conclusion of what if a Gyarados overturned her boat? Jesus, mate, no need to go from 0 to 100 that fast. Is that really the only outcome you could possibly conceive? Besides, even if that is the case, not your problem, is it? Just means you guys can go back to your adventure earlier than expected. What? Ash has badges to earn. Speaking of adventure, I'm adventuring into the wonderful world of drinking G Fuel with milk. That's right, I'm drinking some strawberry shortcake, one of the G Fuel flavors that absolutely should be drank with milk. If you drink strawberry shortcake G Fuel with water, I don't trust you. But you can get 10% off G Fuel if you use code ACE, and I absolutely recommend this luxurious flavor. It turns your beautiful 16 ounces of milk into a wonderful, luxurious, energy-filled strawberry milkshake. Oh, that is fandabidozy! Oh, make sure you get yourself some strawberry shortcake on your next G Fuel order. Use code ACE for 10% off, please, because it helps the channel, and it helps you, and it helps the channel, and it helps you. But most importantly, it helps the channel, and it helps you. Remember though, G Fuel is for over 18s only, because children do not need caffeine. They're annoying enough as it is, and of course, because it contains caffeine, just drink it responsibly. Don't be a dickhead. The gang sees something in the water that they think is Chansey, but it turns out to be Jigglypuff. The same Jigglypuff that's been following them for most of their adventures. Yeah, that just somehow managed to be randomly floating in the water in the exact place that Ash and friends ended up when they found Nurse Joy's empty kayak. Yeah, that seems legit. After they paddle as fast as they can away from Jigglypuff so as not to hear its song and fall asleep, they find Nurse Joy once again, and she says that she should have told them that she was going under the water to treat a sick Cloyster. You should have told them, yet you didn't. This is all evidence enough to convince me that she is absolutely trying to ditch them. I'm not surprised though, after that Onix fiasco, she probably sees them as more of a hindrance than a help. The absolute state of this. Look at Tracey's face. This is the best day of his goddamn life. Tracey is a pervert. Pass it on. I hate to break this to you, Joy, but that's not a Cloyster. That's a Shelder. Are you sure you're qualified for this? Maybe she's not a real Nurse Joy. Ash isn't able to hold his breath for as long as Joy or Tracey and begins struggling to get back to the surface. And then, upon seeing that Ash is in danger of drowning, this dugong grabs Ash and swims around with him like nothing's wrong. Dugong, you're literally drowning him. Maybe that's the plan. I mean, it is smiling. We don't actually get to see how Ash escapes Dugong's clutches, which is a shame because I'd have absolutely loved to have seen Nurse Joy lamp it one with a left hook. Bloody Pokemon, always leaving the good stuff out. Joy says the Dugong was only playing with Ash. Playing with him? It was holding him under the water, preventing him from reaching the surface when he was desperately in need of air. That Dugong was 100% trying to kill Ash, and I refuse to believe otherwise. Also, this turns out to be another "sorry, I should have told you" moment moment from Joy, and they're starting to become a lot more frequent. Ash and friends should just bail ASAP because Joy clearly wants rid of them by any means necessary. Seriously, I bet she was the one that put Dugong up to it. She was under the water for a long time. Sounds like plotting to me. We get a flashback of Nurse Joy's time as a kid, showing us how she became friends with the giant Magikarp. Basically, she once put Magikarp back into the water when it was stuck on land, and then the Magikarp saved her when she fell off a boat. Which is sweet and all, but it's not like any of us were ever wondering why Joy and the Magikarp were friends. I think most of us just figured that she treated it a few times and it was grateful. Realistically, I think we're all more interested in finding out just why that particular Magikarp grew so big. Nurse Joy heads out to go and tend to some baby seal that need her help, even after Ash and Tracey beg her not to go because of an impending hurricane. Mate, it's really come to this? Joy is so desperate to get away from Ash and friends that she is literally willing to be swept away by a hurricane. Ash, Misty, Tracey, please, take the hint. Of course, they don't take the hint and they follow Joy instead. And as soon as they reach her, the waves capsize their kayaks and they end up stranded in the ocean. Mate, if I was Joy right now, I'd be fuming. Last job of the day and it's now delayed yet again by this bunch of clowns. Also, Togepi is nowhere to be seen in this whole section of the episode. Like, look, when Misty's being thrown into the water, there's no sign of Togepi. And when the gang send out their water Pokemon to help take them to a nearby island, Misty's holding onto Staryu with both hands, which means she's not holding Togepi. Was Togepi lost at sea? Rest in peace, Togepi. Gone too soon. When they send out their water Pokemon, Misty Psyduck sends itself out even though it can't swim. Maybe it was hoping it'd finally get swept away from Misty. There's a lot of that going around today. Team Rocket are spying on Ash and friends, and Jessie suggests launching a direct assault. Meowth asks,
Ain't that Chansey?
and Jessie responds,
Yes, that's Chansey.
Congratulations, Pokemon, on your best joke ever. That was a masterpiece.
Well, actually, Liam, I didn't get it.
Alright, just in case anyone didn't pick up on it. Meowth was asking Jessie if a direct assault on Ash and friends would be chancy, as in risky, and Jessie thought that Meowth was asking if the Pokemon that she could see sitting with Nurse Joy was a chansey. There you go. Now the joke's ruined. Nice job. They fire a net that traps Ash and friends, and when the Magikarp subsurfaces, Nurse Joy looks at it and asks,
Magikarp?
Mate, how many Magikarp do you know with a bloody periscope sticking out of their face? Screw your head on, love. James, put your gloves back on. I don't like it. I don't get why you even took them off, just to say to unite all people within our nation. Anyway, you know what they say, glove it or shove it. Wait, maybe that's for condoms. Sorry, loads of Americans are watching.
That's for condoms.
Joy has a little cry about the sick baby seal she's supposed to be treating, and God, does it drag on for ages. We get that you're worried and all that, but surely as a nurse, you'll at least be equipped with like a pair of scissors or something. I'm just saying, with all this time you're wasting crying about the seal, you could actually be trying to escape. And why are none of these Pokemon trainers sending out Pokemon? I'm pretty sure their Pokeballs would easily fit through the gaps in that net. Okay, so I'm supposed to believe that Magikarp somehow heard Joy's inner monologue from wherever it was and just came dashing across the ocean to save her. Bollocks!
Well, actually, Liam, I think it's implied that Joy and Magikarp had such a strong bond that it could sense when she needed help.
Bollocks! It's not gonna have some kind of psychic telepathic connection with Joy, is it? It's a Magikarp, not an Alakazam. The giant Magikarp repeatedly tackles Team Rocket's sub, but is not strong enough to damage it. You know, because it's still just a Magikarp. And when you think about it, that means that this Magikarp is just repeatedly headbutting what is effectively a metal wall over and over again, and only hurting itself. And that can mean only one thing. Magikarp's dumb as fuck. Oh, mate, the giant Magikarp is evolving. Imagine how big a giant Gyarados is going to be. Oh no, never mind. Apparently it evolved into a very normal looking Gyarados. Is that supposed to be a giant? If it is, it really doesn't look like it. Gyarados takes out Team Rocket with a single swing of its tail, which can mean only one thing. No Pokemon battles today then. Ah, my favorite pet peeve about the Pokemon anime. I'm not angry, I'm just disappointed. Gyarados lunges towards Ash and friends as though it's about to attack them, and mate, how shocking would it have been if Gyarados had saved them and then just killed them while they were trapped in a net and defenseless. However, this is a show aimed at children and we are like a minute or so away from the end of the episode, so let's be real. There was never any threat here, and realistically none of us believed anything bad was going to happen. No matter how much Ash yells, oh look, Gyarados is nice and just wants Joy to pet him. It's almost like Pokemon's personalities don't just randomly change when they evolve.
Well, actually, Liam, I think you'll find Charmander was a really nice Pokemon, but its personality changed once it evolved into Charmeleon.
Easy explanation here. It was sick of Ash's shit, and it finally had enough power to express that fact. Wow, they really did just do one take of Seal's voice actor saying, Seal, and then just went, yep, that'll do. Who wants to grab lunch? Seriously, go back and watch it. The entire scene is just, Seal, 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 Seal. Wait a minute, if this is the island where the seal are and they've parked their kayaks here, where's Gyarados? Is Nurse Joy alright? Moments ago, she was looking down at the seal that she just treated, with Chansey on her right side. Then after we get a quick shot of Ash and friends watching on, we get this shot where clearly she's turned away from Chansey, but now her head's up so she's no longer looking at Seal, and she's not looking at Ash and friends because they're behind her, so is she really just staring off into the distance with her eyes glazed over? I think that poor girl might be overworked, you know? Direct quote from Tracey. Well, if we all treated our Pokemon and each other with the kind of care and love and respect we deserve, the world would be picture perfect. Says the man who is once again drawing a picture of someone without their permission whilst they're stood right in front of him. It's creepy, mate. You're a creep. This is like a low-tech but more obvious way of snapping candid photos. Just stop it, you bellend. Joy tells Ash that Naval Island is nearby. That's naval as in belly button, not naval as in ships. And yes, there really is a type of orange with the same name as a belly button, so they are technically still in keeping with the idea, the theme, that the Orange Islands are all named after types of oranges. And Joy says there's an Orange Island gym on Naval Island where Ash can earn his next badge. Well, thank God for that. We can finally get some story progression. I love that we're 12 episodes into the Orange Islands arc, which is supposed to be about 30-ish episodes long, and yet this arc seems so much longer than it really is. So those are my WTF moments of Pokemon Season 2, Episode 12, The Joy of Pokémon. Let me know your favorites and any that I missed down in the comments below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Head to twitch.tv/AceTrainerLiam for all of my live streams, and of course, use code ACE for money off G Fuel. But until next time, I'm Ace Trainer Liam. Keep on training.